Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Carbide Dave. Today we delve into the Reddit nosleep forums to narrate a particular story about a security guard. Sit back and enjoy. 10 rules for the night's security guard. You ever see an opportunity and think, that's too good to be true? Read through the fine print, find out more about it, waiting with bated breath for when it turns out you're right. Here's a piece of advice I'll give you. I'm sure you've heard it before, I did too. Yet here I am now. When something seems too good to be true, it is. Here I am now, 9 more hours sitting at this desk watching security feeds. Then I get to go home and wonder, why the fuck I believed that this overpaid and seemingly easy security position didn't come with a catch. Why I didn't notice all the red flags in between seeing the offer online and getting here. Why I genuinely believe I'll be lucky to have the chance to regret my decision after my shift. Let's go back to earlier today. There I was, switching between browsing Reddit and flipping through local job offers, when a refresh of the local job listing site revealed something new that caught my eye. A basic security position. Job description? It basically amounted to locking the doors at night, watching cameras, and calling the company if anything bad happened. And in the description, they said they'd pay $37 an hour. I was immediately skeptical of the high wage for such a basic security job, especially concerning the company had next to no info on the web. Their small website had pictures of the founders and outside of the building, but didn't even say what they did. However, I had the qualifications from a class I'd taken a year ago and the possibility of walking away with $300 for a night's work. That seemed exciting and enticing, even if it might have been a scam. I figured it couldn't hurt to send in a resume and see what happened. I got a call from a private number not an hour after submitting my application. The conversation was odd. The person on the other end of the line seemed like they had no experience hiring people before, and their voice seemed somewhat stressed and worried. A couple more red flags, but I was still in the, it could be legit. And if it's not, I haven't lost anything mindset. I'll try to recreate the phone conversation here as below. Hello, is this Christopher? Said the voice on the other end. Yes, speaking. Who is this? This is, I work for Redacted Inc. I'm, Daniel Edwards, head of HR, former head of security. I'm calling because, you submitted an application to us? Daniel paused. I waited expectantly for him to continue. But when the silence dragged on a moment too long, I realized he was done speaking. What about my application? We'd like you to come in for, an interview. Your credentials looked, they look good, yeah. Can you come into... Address. In 2 hours? I was surprised. It seemed to me like either A, it was a scam, or B, they needed the position filled fast, maybe even by tonight. If it was the latter, I was pretty sure I could talk them up to an even higher wage, so I made my decision there. I check out the address on Google Street View and see if there were any other info on it before I went there. And if it seemed off, I just wouldn't show up for the interview. Sure thing, thank you. Daniel hung up the phone before I even finished speaking. Fast forward 2 hours later. I was arriving at a fenced-off property in my city's industrial district, occupied by 2 buildings. They bore minimal markings and logos, but appeared to be in fair condition. and supposedly belonged to the company that I was going there to see. I pulled my 2001 Honda Civic through the gate and into the parking lot. Something felt slightly off right away, though I didn't pick up on what it was until later. The parking lot was empty, except for one other car. I stepped out and walked into the larger one-story building facing directly onto the parking lot. The door was unlocked. The receptionist's desk sat empty, and I recalled nothing. That there was dust on the blades of the fan that sat there, that was the only thing. There was no email address on the post on the job site, and Daniel had called me from a private number. Unsure what to do, I waited in the small lobby for a few minutes and looked around at my surroundings. The entrance was a single glass door, and the front wall was made up of floor-to-floor ceiling walls. The metal shutter system rested on the outer wall above the glass, and a control panel on the wall inside. The receptionist's desk sat against the wall opposite the door. On either side of the room were 8 chairs and 2 small coffee tables, complete with old magazines. To the left, a short hallway led past a single door on either side, terminating at a heavy unpainted metal exterior door bearing dents of various sizes and shapes. For some odd reason, the exterior door made me feel uneasy. All 3 doors contained a single small window, the kind with wire mesh inside it, obscured by black paint or cloth on the inside. To the right led to another hall. Oddly enough, I can't recall the length, and I usually have good attention to detail. Was it 4 doors on either side? No, 2? 16 maybe? I'm not even sure it had a length. I didn't look at the end of the right hallway. Behind the receptionist's desk was another long hallway terminating in a T intersection. The first door on the left was made of brown painted metal and bore a small placard of security office. After waiting a minute, a man rushed in through the front door. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm Joshua Collins, head of HR. He spoke quickly and seemed frantic and skittish and crazy. He didn't hold eye contact with me for more than a second at a time. As he shook my hand, I could feel that his palms were sweaty and cold. Christopher Newman. I paused for a second, suddenly hit by a wave of skepticism, and decided to test if he could keep his story straight. I spoke to a man named Daniel Edwards on the phone. I thought he said he was the head of HR. Joshua ignored me and continued. Mr. Newman, my company needs a new security guard fast. The last 2 quit this morning, and we can't afford to go to a night without someone watching the property. We've tried to get you here as fast as possible because you'll need to be ready to work by sunset. We're in a rush, so we'll skip the usual process. If you're able to start right now, then you can consider yourself hired. Your salary is $37 an hour, non-negotiable. Sign this non-disclosure agreement, and you can start right now. I didn't like how aggressive he was being, but it had showed that I was right. They were looking for a fast, probably temporary hire, and I wasn't about to turn down that kind of money. I flipped through the NDA. It was a long one, so I skipped most of it. But I know how these contracts are. Don't disclose company secrets, yada yada yada. I signed it and followed Joshua to the security office. The orientation was short and simple. Here's your keychain. This one opens the door to the security office. This one opens most of the other offices. This one controls the shutter on the front windows. Here's your maglet. You can use it as a baton in a pinch, but you're better to lock yourself in the office and call us if you see anything suspicious. All you have to do is sit in that office and watch the camera feeds. You don't need to patrol since you don't have a partner to watch the feeds when you're gone. We don't provide a uniform. Just put the badge on your shirt. Front door is the only one that's unlocked right now. Ignore the other exterior doors and the offices in the long hallway. Lock the front gate. That's all. What's this binder for? I asked, pointing at a white binder on the desk bearing the company logo. Well, read that during your shift. Joshua looked uncomfortable at the mention of the binder and avoided my gaze as he stammered out his reply. He didn't want to see if I had further questions before he hurriedly left, getting into the only car in the parking lot, apart from mine, and speeding off. I assumed my security guard role right away. I went outside, I locked the gate, closed the metal shutter over the front glass, and locked the front door. Then I sealed myself in the security office and opened the binder up. That binder is what prompted me to write this down. When I opened it, I expected a long, boring write-up of company policy involving various situations that may happen after hours, specific rules for dealing with burglars and vandals, that sort of thing. Instead, there was only one page. What was on that page made me realize that this job was, in fact, too good to be true. And this is why I'm genuinely terrified right now. Welcome to Redacted, Inc. There are 10 company rules security personnel must follow in order to ensure their safety and well-being. The long hallway is off limits. If you cross the threshold from the lobby, turn around immediately and walk back. Do not run. Do not look at the long hallway for prolonged periods. If any security camera shows it, shut it down immediately. Do not open the door at the end of the short hallway. Building 2 is off limits and is to be observed only via camera feeds. If you must go outside, use only the front door. The coffee machine will turn on automatically at 12:17 a.m. Ensure a cup is placed beneath it prior to this time. When the liquid is dispensed into the cup, place it outside the door of the security office. Lock the door and do not open it up again until 12:37 a.m. Do not leave the security office between 4:01 and 4:02 a.m. If you hear a female voice coming from an indeterminate point within this building, unlock the door on the left of the short hallway. Do not enter the room unless the voice invites you to do so. Do not look at her face. If you hear a male voice upon unlocking the door, return to the security office immediately. If you feel you are in immediate danger, call this number using the phone in the security office. Redacted. Do not contact emergency services before sunrise. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt to leave Redacted, Inc. before sunrise. I have 9 hours left in this shift. I'd rather walk out of here broke than stick around for the rest of the night, but the instructions made it clear that I'd have to stick it out till morning. Wish me luck. Update. It's 2:15 a.m. It's been fairly uneventful so far, and I hope I don't jinx it by saying that. I've just stayed in the office and split my time between watching security camera feeds and browsing Reddit to calm my nerves. It's demon coffee time. The cup's already in place and I'm hoping everything is well. Update number 2. 3:30 a.m. Demon coffee disappeared after being left outside the door. I heard something knocking and scratching at the door during the time I was told to keep it closed, though I wasn't able to see it on the cameras. The only corner of the room that seems darker than a normal shadow. It doesn't go away even when I shine my flashlight right at it. The instructions didn't say anything about a shadow, so I'm just not going to touch it and occasionally check it to see if it changes size or moves or anything. Still, I haven't heard the woman's voice. I could have sworn I glimpsed a humanoid figure on the Building 2 cameras a few times, though I can't find it when I inspect the feeds more closely. I no longer have even the slightest doubt that this place is haunted as shit. Update 3, 4:29 a.m. I was feeling pretty shaken, so I didn't write this up immediately, but here's basically what happened. I'll put it in more detail in my next post. At 3:45, I heard the woman's voice. I was going to ignore it until 4:02, but it got louder and louder until it hurt, and I gave in. She invited me in, but I heard the male voice as soon as I sat down, and I ran back to the office. As far as what happened at 4:01, I'll write that up later. I'm still really shaken by it. I'll just say I was glad for the reinforced metal door in the office, and that I really, really regret taking this job.